Hey guys, it's Joe from SFST. A little while ago we released a video about light pollution. You might have seen it or not. Make sure to check it out with a link below. And we got a lot of questions about one specific technique we use on this shot. So it's a light painting in video effect we created, and we did everything on camera. We didn't use any like trap code or any of those software. Same thing for this Las Vegas sign. So we get a lot of questions, so we decided to make a quick tutorial to show you how to do it using only After Effects, Photoshop, and obviously a camera. So I'm sure there is different ways to go about it, different techniques you can use. People talked about the effect echo, but anyway, we're going to show you to do that with basic effects in After Effects and Photoshop. The only thing you might need is a little script, but I'll give you a link later. So I'm going to show you how to reproduce this shot with the lightsaber, a different version of it. So the first thing you need to get is obviously a shot kind of dark, not totally black, because you want to see the background, you want to see elements moving with it, and a light source. In that case, it's a lightsaber, Star Wars type, and you want to make it move across the frame, whatever movement you want. The only thing you need is to make sure that this light source you're going to use to do the light trail is bright enough. On this shot, the colors help because it's really bright red, and the environment around it is kind of yellow bluish. So you can download this shot actually below this video. We put you a link that way you can practice and reproduce step by step this tutorial. After tweaking it for a little bit, you will get to something like this with this shot. So let's do it. So once you've downloaded the footage, here it is. You're just gonna open it in After Effects, drag and drop it. And the first thing you wanna do is drag and drop it into a comp. Just check the frame rate, that's important for the rest of it. And make sure that everything you do is at the same frame rate. So now that you have your shot in After Effects, you wanna isolate the part with the light source. So you can do it different ways. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna isolate the light and export it to Photoshop. So first thing you want to do is isolate the light source part of the clip with a light. So then the first thing to isolate the light better, to make it pops out even more, is to grade the shot. That way the red comes out more. So in this case, we're going to use an adjustment layer, put some levels, make it more contrasted, make the highlights popping out even more. And we're going to desaturate all the other colors that this red. That way, after that, when we do the script in Photoshop it would be easier for Photoshop to recognize the color. So you desaturate everything. Make sure that when you desaturate the yellows, in this specific case, be careful and not desaturate too much because it's going to affect the red. So once you've done this, another step is to make it even easier for Photoshop, and that can also allow you later on to change the colors, change whatever, is do a mask around it. So you don't need to, it doesn't need to be super precise, just like isolate it enough that you get rid of most of the rest of the frame. So you do like a box around it and you track it, like you can track it by hand, depending on how long is your shot. This step takes a little while, but it's important for the rest of it, so make sure to get it right. Mostly make sure that your lightsaber doesn't never go out of this box, obviously. So here we go, put some keyframes, move it around. All right, I'm gonna skip the rest of it. All right, once you're done with it, make sure that your lightsaber is always in your box in your mask, and you can now turn your mask on add mode. Make sure it looks good. And we're gonna export this. So add it to the render queue and export it in full resolution and as a Photoshop sequence. So you want to create a new folder for that. Put it in a new folder, save it, and make sure it's in full res again, and export that. When you're done exporting it, you're gonna go to your folder and look at your frames, and you want to find a frame that's sharp enough, so not too much motion blur, and where the reds comes out really well and there is nothing like in the way. A nice lightsaber like this frame, for example, you put it in Photoshop, and What we're gonna do now is use a script to key out the background and isolate the red, only the red light, the lightsaber. Again, there's a million ways to do about this. You can render it out in After Effects, you can use Scan in After Effects. But I found Photoshop to be the easiest way to go about it with the script, because after that you have to put it back in After Effects as a frame by frame. So the first thing you do is go to Window, Action, and you will start and create a new script that you call whatever you want to call it, lightsaber in this case. And it's going to turn on a red dot. That means recording, obviously. And that means everything you do from now on will be recorded in the script. So the thing is, you double click on the layer. That way you're going to unlock it. And you go to select color range, which is going to select only part of the frame, the color you pick. So you want to pick something not too bright, not too dark. So you can play with the tolerance to make a selection. And then when you're happy with it, you create your selection. And once you have it, you want to isolate it. So you want to create a mask for it. So you go click on the right bottom on the square with a circle in the middle. And it's going to create a mask on your layer. And here you go. You only have the lightsaber now. So as you can see, you have like black edges around it. Don't worry. We'll get rid of it later on with a fusion mode in After Effects. It's better that way. Don't get rid of most of the light. Otherwise, you're going to end up with like non-consistent light source lightsaber. You're going to lose detail on it. So once you've done this, you can save it. Because of PSD, you save it. And you close it. Make sure to close it. Otherwise, depending on how many frames you have later on, Photoshop scripts is going to be blocked. So once you've closed it, you can stop the script. You have your script with all the steps recorded. You can apply it to a folder without even open the files in Photoshop. So what you want to do is go to File, Automate, Batch. So it's pretty simple window for those who haven't used it. You can choose what action you want to apply into what folder you want to apply. So make sure you're on lightsaber and not any default actions. Lightsaber, and then you can either choose open file or a folder. So you do a folder, you choose it, and you're going to choose your folder. Don't click on something inside the folder. Just make sure you select the folder you want your footage are, choose it, and then you're all set, and you do OK, and it's going to start flashing on your screen. Don't worry, except if you are photosensitive and you're going to have seizure. But otherwise, Photoshop is right now, based on your script, getting rid of the background on every frame. You might encounter this is when it gets to the frame you use as a reference, just press continue and it will move on from the frame and keep going. All right, let's skip this further. So once done, you can go to the folder and you have all your keyed out frames. And so what you want to do now is like bring all those frames. You can see it, there's like edges, little details. As long as it's dark, it's fine, since the fusion mode in After Effects will get rid of it. So now you're going to go back to After Effects and you want to import your folder. So you double click in the project window and you select the folder again and you import it. So what After Effects is going to do is import a folder with all the files inside. Make sure to not make an image sequence. Once you have this, you're going to select your files, all of them, and drag and drop it into a new comp. So you drag and drop it into the tiny icon at the bottom of the project window. And you want to do a single composition. You want to do still duration as long as you need it, 20 seconds, 5 minutes, whatever. And you don't want to do a sequence layer. So uncheck the box sequence layer if it's checked. So what it's going to do is going to basically put all the layers on top of each other into a comp. So this is when your computer might slow down quite a bit because now you're dealing with like 200 layers on top of each other. And so you kind of see the result already that you're going to get. Since everything is selected, you're going to turn it into lighten mode. You can play with this, use add, use screen, however you feel like. I like lighten because it's not blown out most of the time. You keep details and transparency. So once you have this, you want to make sure that your comp settings are at the project and the final video. So you make sure of this by going to your composition settings. And then what you want to do is push one frame after another. That way they appear at the same time as the lightsaber is moving in the video. So you can do it by hand, and I was taking forever, so I figured out there's a script that can do it. So I found the script online. It's called Sequence Layers, and you can find it on AE Scripts plus AE plugins. Make sure to buy it. It's really cheap, and it works really well, and it's really useful. It will save you a lot of time. So once you have this downloaded, you open it, and you can move everything from a second of frames. You want to move it for one frame. So it's going to move everything from one frame to another. So you end up with having the lightsaber appearing frame by frame, as you can see. So this is what you want to do. Just a quick note, maybe backwards when you do the script. Just make sure that the last frame you click is the first one you want to appear on screen. Otherwise, it's going to be backward, and the last frame is going to appear. Depending on what frame you've selected last before you run the script, it's going to use this frame as the beginning of the script. So once you have this, you want to bring back the pre-comp you have onto your final comp. So first, turn off the mask you've done earlier. And you want to turn off the adjustment layer for later on apply whatever rating you want. You drag and drop this comp and put it exactly where the lightsaber gets in frame. You can see that the background is still getting on top of it. The background of those frames, because of the king, was not perfect. So you can either go back at it and do a new script, or use a fusion mode to mix it with the background. In this case, I use lighten, same thing. You can use add, screen, whatever, play with it. Once the artwork is done, which is this part, isolating the light, putting it together, putting it in the comp, you can pretty much do whatever you want, tweak it, make it better, change the color, use the mask you've created earlier to change the color on the lightsaber as well. And you can tweak it as much as you want. And in this case, I tweaked it a little bit to get to the result we saw earlier. Here you go, you're all set. You have now your light trail in the frame following the lightsaber source. If you have any question, obviously ask. We'll make sure to respond to it and give you more information. We would like to see what you've done with it, so you can send us your stuff. Make sure to subscribe to our channel SFST Creative on YouTube to get other links, cool videos, tutorials, stuff like that. If you want to know how to do an hologram with an iPad and animate it as well, we did in this video with a bird. Make sure to subscribe to our channel SFST Creative. Thank you for watching. It was Joe from SFST. Je vous fais une bisou et vous dis à bientôt on our channel.